All right, let's dive into Google's Vertex AI. You hear this term all the time, a unified AI platform. But what does that actually mean in the real world? Today, we're going to break down exactly what it is and, more importantly, how it's designed to solve one of the biggest headaches in tech, getting a brilliant AI idea out of the lab and into a real product.
So let's start with a question that I'm sure hits close to home for a lot of you. Why is it so incredibly hard to take an AI model that works perfectly in a notebook and turn it into a reliable, professional, money-making product? What's the roadblock that just stops so many amazing ideas dead in their tracks?
Well, it really boils down to what we can call the AI development challenge. And here's the thing, it's not usually about the code itself. It's about the entire ecosystem, all the people and all the processes that have to work together around that code.
The biggest problem is fragmentation. Seriously, just picture 3 different teams living in 3 completely separate worlds. You've got your data engineers over here, prepping the data. Then you have the data scientists in the middle, building the models. And finally, the ML engineers are trying to actually deploy and run them. They're all using different tools, they're speaking different technical languages, their priorities are often miles apart.
And this fragmentation, it has real, painful consequences. Those handoffs between teams become these massive bottlenecks. A model that works perfectly on a data scientist's laptop suddenly breaks when it hits the production environment because the tools are totally different. And all of this leads to the most common failure in AI, the prototype graveyard, which is where brilliant, promising models go to die before a single user ever gets to see them.
So how in the world do you fix this? You can't just throw everyone in a room and say, collaborate better. It doesn't work. You need a structural fix, something foundational. And that's exactly where this idea of a unified AI platform comes into play.
And this, right here, is the core mission of Vertex AI. It's not just a random collection of tools. It's a single, managed environment. The whole point is to bring those 3 separate worlds, the data, the modeling, and the operations, into one single, seamless workflow. It lets your teams focus on building great AI, not wrestling with infrastructure.
You can kind of think of a whole platform as resting on 3 main pillars. First up is data management. This is all about creating a single source of truth for your data, so everyone is on the same page. Second, you've got model development, which gives you a whole range of tools for actually building the AI. And third, there's MLOps and governance. This is the heavy machinery that automates and professionalizes the entire process from start to finish.
Okay, now let's zoom in on that second pillar, model development, because this is where Vertex AI gets really clever. Instead of forcing everyone down a one-size-fits-all path, it gives you 3 distinct ways to build AI, and each one is tailored to different needs and, different skill levels.
Think of this like choosing your own adventure for model building. You can start on the no-code path using AutoML. You literally just bring your data, and Google's automation builds a powerful model for you. Or maybe you take the low-code path with Vertex AI Studio to tap into incredible generative models like Gemini. And of course, for the experts who need total control, there's the Pro path, which gives you full custom training capabilities. And this brings us to the fundamental trade-off, right? It's always a balance between ease of use and flexibility. The no-code path is all about speed and simplicity. It's perfect for standard problems where you just need a really strong result fast. The Pro path, on the other hand, is all about maximum control and flexibility. Absolutely essential when you're working on something brand new or trying to squeeze out every last bit of performance.
But this low-code path has become this incredibly powerful middle ground, especially now with generative AI. With tools like Vertex AI Studio, you can prototype amazing applications that can summarize long documents or generate fantastic marketing copy in minutes. Not months, minutes. It's a massive game changer for the speed of innovation.
Okay, so you've picked your path, you built a model. Awesome. But remember our original problem? A model sitting in a notebook is not a product. Now we have to do the hard part. Make it professional, make it reliable, and make it automated. And this, my friends, is the world of MLOps.
At its heart, an MLOps pipeline is pretty simple. It takes all those manual steps a data scientist does, getting the data, training the model, checking how well it works, and then deploying it, and turns it all into a single automated workflow. This is the connective tissue for the whole platform. It's what makes the entire process repeatable, reliable, and trustworthy.
This quote just nails it perfectly. The whole idea of MLOps is moving away from this one-off, artisanal way of building models and moving toward a true engineering discipline. You're trying to create an AI factory, not a workshop. And that's what makes AI scalable and safe for a big company to rely on.
And to make this happen, Vertex AI gives you some key governance tools. You've got Experiments, which is like a digital lab notebook. It tracks every single attempt to build a model so you can compare what worked and what didn't. Then there's the model registry, which is like the official library for your production-ready models, giving you proper version control. And finally, model monitoring, which keeps an eye on your live models to warn you if their performance starts to degrade as the world changes.
Now, let's be real, Google isn't the only game in town. So it's really important to zoom out and see how Vertex AI stacks up against the competition. Choosing your cloud AI platform is a huge strategic decision for any company.
The market is really a battle between three giants: Google's Vertex AI, Amazon's SageMaker, and Microsoft's Azure Machine Learning, and they each have their own personality. Vertex AI is betting big on a super smooth user experience and top-tier AutoML. SageMaker is the veteran. It's been around the longest and has the most features. And Azure ML really leans into its enterprise roots with fantastic visual, no-code tools.
And when you lay them all out like this, a pretty clear pattern emerges. You can see that Vertex AI and Azure really stand out for being easy to use, while SageMaker is often seen as being more for the power user. But look at that last row, ecosystem integration. This is often the most critical factor. Each of these platforms is woven so deeply into its parent cloud, Google, AWS, or Azure. That gives you huge advantages, but also means you have to think really hard about vendor lock-in.
So let's boil it all down. When is Vertex AI the absolute clear winner? Well, it's pretty much a no-brainer if your company is already all in on the Google Cloud ecosystem, especially if you're using BigQuery. It's also the top choice if you want to empower your teams with the best AutoML on the market, or if you need to get your hands on Google's latest Gemini models and their specialized TPU hardware for acceleration.
And that really brings us to a final thought to chew on. As these platforms like Vertex AI get more and more powerful, they start handling all the really complex, low-level stuff for you. And this lets teams focus less on writing every single line of code and more on orchestrating these powerful tools to solve real business problems. So, is the future of the AI professional less of a deep-in-the-weeds coder and more of a high-level, strategic orchestrator? It's definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining me on this explainer.